everyone, and welcome back to the Long Island Legends Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to showcasing the most legendary talent right here on our Long Island community. And today I am joined by Lisa Ludwig, who's the president and lead instructor at She Trains You and the founder of the Long Island Women's Firearm Club, Inc. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm going to go through all your credentials, and I'm sure there's more to add, but you are a certified NRA pistol instructor, a rifle instructor, a chief range safety officer, certified range master, certified Glock armorer, New York State Armored Guard, and martial artist. And we're just talking about your further martial art training. Tell me more about that.
Well, it was more about deadly force instructor certified by Masato Yu, which is basically the deadly force aspect on the concealed carry class, which I teach in people's homes. So it's really important to be certified by a use of force expert who's been doing it since 1969. I'm sorry,
Really?
79,
Okay.
and has about 60 books on use of force.
Okay. So, as I go through this, you've kind of become the go-to firearms instructor here in New York State. How did that all come about?
That's a great question. Basically, I was sitting on my couch one day and I saw almost a violent break-in. It had nothing to do with me. It was from the Ring app called Neighbors. And I just clicked on it. It was a lady running into her house, a man running behind her with a mask over his face and a gun in his hand.
Okay.
And he was trying to get into her house by donkey kicking the door. Thankfully, he didn't get in. And as he ran away, there was another armed intruder. So it really scared me. I was kind of dealing with the neighborhood watch group. And
This was nearby in your community?
Yeah, in my
Okay.
town. And I said, you know what? We need to learn how to shoot firearms here. And they weren't really interested. So that's where the Long Island Women's Firearm Club came from. I kind of built my own table.
Okay.
And then from there, men wanted to work with me. So I needed something else. So I came up with She Trains You.
Okay. Now, you're a former engineer. Am I
I am.
correct?
That is correct.
So what, obviously at this time, were you still an engineer when you decided to make this career change?
Yes. Basically what happened was I was a decent engineer. I did my job. I had a career in it. But going to and from the 5 boroughs just wasn't fun for me every day. Kind of sucked the life out of me. And then this kind of started. It was more my passion, and then it turned into a career. Just literally landed in my lap. And then basically when the pandemic started, you go from one of those people that was, oh, she's so paranoid to the overnight expert.
Sure,
It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, of course.
So next thing you know, my phone was blowing up. I was just literally in the right situation at the right time.
Of course.
For once in my life.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, being a real estate investor myself, obviously, like, things were going well. And then, of course, COVID hit and the real estate market went bananas. And
Yeah.
so timing is definitely everything. But, were you somebody that was proficient in firearms, just had an interest in firearms, or did you go into this pretty green?
So I started around 9/11 when all that happened.
Sure.
Everybody was like prepping and stuff. I thought somebody was gonna like take all the stuff I was prepping. So I reached out to my local military dude, and he gives me a piece of paper and he says, "Okay, go get this." And it was a 12 gauge shotgun. So we go to Calverton, which we were just talking about is the
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
Yes.
And we go there. He did everything for me, minus feeling the recoil. I shot 5, I hit 0.
Okay.
And then I went home and I put a sock over the muzzle and I put it under the bed, and it sat there for 2 years. I was
Okay.
literally petrified of it. It had dust bunnies around it. I wouldn't even vacuum near it. And then a couple of years later, when I moved to my new house, that's when that happened. So around 2018 is when I really, really got into firearms. I was kind of a green instructor. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
They say that fake it till you make it. Well, that's kind of what happened.
Okay.
And now I have so much on my resume. There's no more faking it.
Yeah.
I am who I am. I've been in this industry long enough now. People do know who I am, and it's just great. I was just well seated at the right time. I'm the only female I know that does this full time, and it's just been a fantastic ride.
Are there any parallels, between teaching firearms and your background as an engineer? Because I feel like it's a very methodical approach that you need to take, and engineering would follow the same suit.
Yes, absolutely. Some people, they actually go, "How did you know?" Like I actually had a doctor. He was like, "How did you know I wasn't looking at my front sight?" And I said, "Listen, do I come into the emergency room?" And I said, "How do you know I have the flu?" I said, this is
Sure.
what you're trained in. You've seen it enough. You know exactly what to look for, the symptoms. I just can diagnose it really easily. More so than I've ever seen other instructors, not to pat me on the back, but I really do feel like I have a special edge because of the whole engineer background. I also can see, like, for some reason, things can be off a little bit, and I could just see it. Where other instructors miss it. So I really shine with my students. When I do my concealed carry, I've trained over 2,000 people on Long Island, which is a nice
wow.
amount of people. And I can tell you about 92% of all the shooters that go through my class leave with a bullseye.
Okay.
And they're consistent. It's not just a one-timer. It's a
Okay.
consistent bullseye, which is
Okay.
pretty good, you know?
Okay. And
Yeah.
all of your training we were just talking about, you do it out of where?
Out of a private range in West Babylon. I have key access to it, so it's 24/7. If it's available, I'm available.
Okay.
We book it, or I work at the Nassau range too. But it's getting harder to get time there because everybody and
Sure.
their mother now is an instructor, and
Yes.
they see the money and they run into it. I was doing this before the money was even there. I
Mhm.
hardly was even doing anything. I was kind of doing it part time even. So now everybody, it's a different story now.
Okay. People are watching this. Obviously, the whole topic of guns is a polarizing issue. What were, I guess, some misconceptions, maybe even misconceptions that you had before getting into this about firearms that people have that just are really just not true?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, there's many.
Yeah, and we could talk about, we do a
There's
whole
many.
episode about that.
100%. But probably the biggest misnomer is that when you get a gun in your hand, the recoil like throws you back, like the movies. It doesn't, And unfortunately, the movies gets into a lot of people's heads, and then when they get into the range, they're like almost visibly shaking. So we calm them down, we get them to listen to it first just to kind of chill the nerves. And then once they get through a couple of repetitions, it's like popcorn. That's how I try to explain it to my students. And then next thing you know, they're fine. If you have a good start into your world of firearms, you literally will stay in the industry.
Mhm.
But if you get scared on your first time, you're going
So
to wind up.
trauma, like, is a real thing
Oh
when it, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
like I hate to bag on other instructors. I don't want to do that, but if they're yelling at their students, that's probably not a good time to do that, especially when they're new.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about philosophies, what's a core philosophy that you have as a firearms instructor? I mean, we just talked about getting them obviously off to a smooth start so that carries through. Is there
Yeah.
any other core philosophies that you have as an instructor that for you set the stage for, everything as far as leaving them as a well-rounded instructed student?
Yes, actually. So I'm a big believer of a good foundation. A lot of people like to rush into speed so quickly, and it's like you can't do speed without having accuracy first. Okay, you really need to know how to control your firearm before you start wailing on the gas pedal. And it's just something that everybody thinks of when they go in there. They're like, "Oh, this is a button." It's not. It's a lever. So we have to treat it as such, right? So when this is my four core that I deal
Okay.
that they deal with. First one is trigger control, which a lot of people don't realize is actually a thing, which we just kind of talked about. The second one is sight alignment, sight picture. That's the bumpy things on the gun or the red dot, if that's your choice, or lasers, which I'm not
Mhm.
really a fan of. The third one is grip. Okay, and if you don't have a really good grip on that gun, it's not going to leave the barrel properly, right? And then the fourth part is follow through. So if you're not holding on to the gun when the shot leaves the barrel, again, the bullet's not going to go where it's supposed to go. So if you have a good foundational skill like that and it's repeatable, that is everything we're looking for. A lot of people, even when they shoot, they let go and they readjust their grips. You can't do that. That's making a bad habit that now every time you shoot, you readjust your grip or you go, shoot, how'd I do?
Yeah, yeah.
Shoot, like that's probably the worst thing you could possibly do because now you're coming out of your sights. Think of somebody running at you. Do you want to go shoot? How'd I do?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you want
yeah.
to be in your sights, right? So those are my core foundations that I really teach with. And when they leave, hopefully they leave with
Mhm.
that.
When you started this, I imagine this was probably initially geared towards women, if I'm
That's correct.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so obviously for you, safety, I mean, we talked about the previous incident that happened and you realize like, hey, like we're at risk here, right?
Yeah.
But for from the standpoint of, helping women, empowering them was I would imagine that was a big drive for
Yep.
you to be able to do something like that and not have people feel the way you did where all of a sudden it's like, what do I do to defend myself,
That's
right?
right. 100%. Empowerment is the best word you could possibly put into that sentence because that is exactly what we're giving women. They come in there and they don't even realize like kind of what they're missing. And then when they see and feel that empowerment, it's crazy from there. Like
Sure.
it's literally just takes off. Not only just them, as a shooter, but in their everyday life. Like they feel like they can conquer things more now because they have now conquered a scary thing
Hmm.
in their mind, especially with the movies. Again, not really helping my cause.
Yeah.
But When they get in there and they feel what it feels like to get a bullseye and to repeat that and to have the camaraderie of the other women who are also, we have full female staff and the other females that are in the club, just to have everybody behind you, like clapping
Yeah,
for
of
you
course,
and
of
cheering
course.
you on. Last night, matter of fact, we were doing holster pulling for the first time with my club, and we had everybody lined up. And it was dry at first, obviously, because we have to make sure they get the right,
Yeah.
foundational skills. So we were doing it one step at a time, clearing the garment, getting the gun out, taking it out, putting it away slowly, all that stuff. And it was such a great feeling that when we were done, like everybody was round of applause. We were all hugging each other. It was just a really great space. It
Yeah.
really is.
Now, beyond that, right? For women to feel safe, obviously being able to handle a firearm goes a long way. But in a situation where there's a home invasion and you don't have the opportunity to maybe get to your firearm,
Right.
tell me more about what it is that you're doing to help women so that if, God forbid, that situation were to arise, they could still handle themselves
That's
properly.
true. That's a very good question. So I do talk about staging in your house and being tactful in your
Hmm.
house because think about it, it's home turf. So you get the upper hand. So if you can stage things in certain areas, maybe in a bathroom, maybe on a top of a molding
Hmm.
or on the side of the bed. You can easily go to any garage sale in America and pick up a cheap thing of clubs, those golf clubs, and put one behind every door in your house just to have something near you. God forbid something is to happen, just to be able to get you to your firearm or defend yourself, whatever.
If I may ask, is
Yeah.
there a preferred spot that you feel? Obviously, you mentioned the golf clubs, but is there a preferred spot that you feel like no matter what, like this is where you should keep it? It's the safest, it's the most accessible
For a firearm, you're saying?
for a firearm. God
Mm,
forbid there's a home invasion because we're all in different points in our house, right?
definitely.
Bedroom, living room, basement.
Right.
Is it possible to prepare for every scenario?
Yes and no. So one, we talk about staging. So you could have one of those, the small safes, like those bedside safes they call them. It's actually called a storage receptacle. It's actually not a safe. People think they are, but they're not, because people can just run out of the house with that, right? So you can use those while you're home, especially when you have kids and stuff. You don't want to be leaving them around. It's dangerous. So put one in the kitchen while you're cooking. There's one in the living room. When you go home, you stage your firearms so that they're there for you. But when you leave or right before you leave for the day, they come out of there and they go into a real storage receptacle, like a safe,
Hmm.
where it can't be removed from the home, fire impact tamper, something like that. Or the other version, which I like to tell most people, just wear it on you. Like in my house, I wear my gun on me all the time. I go out to take out the garbage. I have my gun on me. I go out in the garden, my gun's on me. Like the only time really the gun's not on me is when I'm showering, to be
Okay.
honest. I didn't
Okay.
bring one with me today because I
Yeah.
didn't know what kind of situation I was walking into. So
Would have been
I,
fine
yeah, I
if
know,
you
but I
wanted
didn't
to.
know. So I didn't want to who
Sure.
knows? I didn't want to have a problem. So I just didn't bring it. It's okay. I have a pepper spray with me if I need something.
Okay.
So I always have something with me,
Yes. Yes.
regardless. So same thing. Just you have to prepare for how you have to prepare.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about hand-to-hand combat?
So I am a martial artist, as you
Mhm.
know. I've been doing this since I was a kid. It's so I used to teach a lot of self-defense, especially for women, but I really kind of came to the conclusion that it is a false sense of security because I'm telling these women, okay, do this, do that. Oh yeah. Do you think they're going to remember that if
Yeah.
something's going to happen? No, they've never done it enough. So my suggestion now going forward, as someone that's more educated in this world, you need to put the work in. You have to go join Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai or something like that where we're not talking Taekwondo or like, anything standing or,
Yeah.
the problem is people think it's a clean fight. It's never going to be a clean
Of
fight. It's
course.
never standing. What's going to happen is you're going to trip, they're going to fall on you, and now you have to grapple. And if you don't know how to grapple, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So with a gun, without a gun. So my suggestion is go put that work in and find a good school or a dojo and put the work in. That if you really want to be your future safety to be safe, that's how you do it. You can't just take these women's classes and be like, all right, I took a few of those, I get it. You don't.
Yeah. No, no, I get that, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, something is better than nothing too,
Agreed. I
you
do teach a
know?
little bit, but
Okay.
nothing like, like you really need, to be honest. I mean,
Mhm.
like someone grabs you, how to get out of it. I mean, listen, just for anybody listening, anybody that grabs you, you go towards the thumbs. I can't really do it for myself. I could
Sure.
probably do it on you if we move the mics. But anyway, you go towards the thumbs because that's your weakest part. So if you have to go up or go down,
Yeah.
that's a way to get out of any kind of grab. I've had 400-pound guys grab me as hard as they could. Yeah, they ripped my skin open, but I got out. So that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
We're not talking about offense. We're talking about defense.
Okay.
Like to
And
get
so
out.
it sounds to me, if I may, and if I'm wrong, tell me,
Sure.
but it looks like a good baseline set of tactics, like you just described, coupled with proper staging, right, or coupled with being armed,
Right.
right, is I would say at the minimum what you would need. God forbid there's a home invasion.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, you don't really have time to be like, hold
sure.
on, let me get to my
Oh
safe. I
yeah,
mean,
I
people,
know.
most people don't have it loaded. You know, like, hold on, I got to load up my magazine, put
Yeah,
it,
I
get
know,
out of
I
here. You don't
know.
have that kind of time. Even if you're walking around within a holster and you're not loaded, you don't have that kind of
Of
time.
course, you
People
never
think,
do.
yeah, it's like trying to put a seatbelt on at a crash. It doesn't work like that.
Is there anything that somebody could do outside of, firearms, martial arts, from a security alarm standpoint that you've seen worth doing or implementing? Because obviously, at the end of the day, like there's all sorts of different scenarios. But if there is a way to properly defend your home with technology,
Yeah.
even AI components right now, I
Yeah.
would imagine are at the forefront. Is there anything you've seen that has been worthwhile that you would suggest?
I would suggest taking a pepper spray class. I
Okay,
think that would be a really good component to someone's arsenal because we can carry them to most places. And we're not looking to kill anybody, we're looking to stop a threat.
sure.
So if I can incapacitate you with pepper spray, that's amazing. That's going to be my first go to. And, anybody that's carrying around here or anywhere, really, you should be carrying pepper spray with you. You sometimes need something between a fist, a firearm, and a bad word. And that is the nice solution for it, right?
Okay.
I'll spicy sauce you until, you
Mm.
drop. It's not an end all be all. Some people do work through it, but you know what? Better than nothing.
Yeah, but absolutely.
So take that kind of class. I would suggest taking any kind of there's a bunch of great audiobooks on the internet. Even if you have a library card, it's called the Libby app. I think it's called Libby. And you
Okay.
basically get free audiobooks of a bunch of great books that are on the market that will help you be more aware of your surroundings, what to see, what you're seeing, how to identify what you're seeing, and then react to it. Because a lot of people see things, but they don't really see things, right? So you need to see what you're seeing so that you're aware. A lot of people are like, I don't have that kind of time. Well, you would if you had that kind of, if you were paying attention. If you're not paying attention, no, you don't have that kind of time. And they're looking for somebody like you. You are an easy target when
Mhm.
you are not paying attention. When you're paying attention, you're a hard target. That's what they're going to skip over you. A lot of people don't realize when you're in a risk pool, it's not like you dip yourself in and out of a shower. No, you're in the risk pool all day long and you get selected and deselected all day long. You don't even realize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When somebody is in a scenario where they have to use their firearm, right?
Mhm.
What is the recommended course of action? Obviously, there's a million different permutations, but you're
100%. Yeah.
talking about a scenario, somebody breaks in, they have their firearm on them.
Mhm.
Just for the people that are watching, what's the proper course of action on a general sense, if it's possible to
Sure.
provide that?
There's a couple of things I'm going to tell you not to do. um, so if say someone breaks down the door and you run off to go to your safe to go get your gun, and then you come back to the situation, they're going to say that's not imminent. You could have just stayed where you were. You were safe where you were, and then you put yourself back in a bad situation. So for me, I would say go get your gun and stay there and let them come to you. Okay. If there's someone else back downstairs, like your kid, your wife, your neighbor, anybody, a contractor, go down and protect them. You have every right in the world to
So
protect
at
them.
that point, you have if there's
Fine.
other people in the house, then at that
Fine.
point you can go on the offense.
That's right,
Okay,
because any person on the jury would have done the same thing as
sure.
you. That's really how the outlook works here. The whole idea is called reasonable man doctrine, which basically states would any reasonable person do it, or any would any reasonable person do what any person would do in the same situation, knowing what they knew
Sure.
at that time. At that time, that is a reasonable man doctrine. So we expect us to be reasonable, right? So for us to go down and come back down and get them, when there's no one there, that's not really reasonable. We're
Mm.
here to protect our family. We're not here to go kill people,
Mhm.
So they want to come towards us, different story. Okay, you coming towards me and my family, there's nothing to discuss. I'm gonna protect us. I'm gonna protect us. Another thing that people tend to say a lot is I didn't want to do it. And that's a bad thing to say because they're gonna say, what do you mean want to? This is a had to situation. You didn't have a choice, and you're telling me you didn't want to. So that is not good either.
Even though nobody really wants to do it,
Exactly.
literally, it's just
I don't wanna
saying,
hurt anybody. I don't wanna kill anybody. I wanna go home safe to my family. That's what I want.
okay,
So, yeah, so there's just a couple of tidbits. And one other thing I'm gonna throw out there, set a mask. When you know you're shooting at center mass, you got to be careful because when they start rolling and you shoot towards their back, like this, if I cut me in half and I went to the back, that's considered back. That means that they turned, you went after them, and you're a vigilante.
Gotcha.
So center mass is all
Okay.
we should be going for.
Long Island residents, do you have a house that you want to potentially sell off market, your terms, your timeline, your way, or do you know of somebody that could benefit from that? Then definitely give us a call. You can reach out to us at 631-333-SELL. The number is below, or visit our website at SuffolkCountyHouseBuyers.com. And for any deal that you refer over to us where you are not the seller, the first deal you refer to us, we pay a $5,000 referral fee. The second deal, we pay a $10,000 referral fee. And get this, the third deal that you refer to us, we will split the profits with you 50-50. And some of our deals are multiple six figures, so this can be a life-changing amount of money. It could pay for weddings. It could pay for college, anything that you choose from. So please take advantage of this great opportunity. Once again, we're looking for off-market opportunities where a seller wants to sell on their terms, their timeline, their way. We talked about the discussion of gun control, defending yourself. It's a hot button topic, right? But to get into that state to state, what do you think of the laws as they pertain into New York versus Florida? Where do you fall on the side of, being able to stand your ground, protect yourself,
Right.
regardless of what it is? Obviously, I want your take of what you feel is at least what state has it in your opinion, the most sound.
That's a really good question. Because not really any state I think really has it perfect. I even think it's either too lax or too much.
Okay.
So stand your ground. A lot of people have like these big misnomers that you can just, stand your ground on anything
Sure.
and, defend whatever. You still have to provide an imminent threat to life, or, like a kidnapping, a rape or something like that. You can't just be like, get off my lawn, kid. And that's what people think. That's the
Yes.
big misnomer. So that's not true. So we have castle doctrine here and duty to retreat, which is not stand your ground, right? Castle doctrine's only the four walls of the home, which means we don't have to retreat. But people get confused because when they're on their driveway or in the backyard, they consider that their home, and it's not.
Okay.
They're actually outside the home, and that's now duty to retreat, which means you must back up. You must give a couple of steps, de-escalate whatever you can. And if you still feel an imminent threat to your life,
Okay.
you do what you have to do from there.
But just to be clear, though,
Yeah.
the threat of a gun outside of your four walls is okay.
It's not okay for
No.
sure. Well, saying someone threatened you in your property,
If somebody was
like
on your property,
like
could you?
front yard or whatever.
Yeah, and
That's an imminent threat to your life.
Yes.
Listen, if they're asking if you can retreat, if you can do so safely. If you can't do so safely.
I'm not talking about shooting, but I'm talking
No.
about just using the gun as a means of an intimidation to get them off of your lawn. If you feel that there's a threat, do you?
If it's an imminent threat to you, then
Yes.
or your family or anybody really, you can protect them.
Okay.
How I look at it is, if it's not my monkey, it ain't my circus. I kind of stay out of it. And I'm not really going to defend just anything. If it's an imminent threat, it's an imminent threat. That gun comes out and I need to use it. I pulled it out because it was an imminent threat. I didn't pull it out to threaten, or I didn't pull it out to protect my motorcycle.
Sure.
A lot of people get these confused, and it's like, you're not here to protect stuff. That is not an imminent threat to your life.
Okay.
So it's a very fine line. It's very much a variable. It's gray, and you got to be very careful. I would suggest get a good instructor to teach you right and make sure that you are learning your use of force laws and that you stay abreast of them because they do change, and it's up to you to
Okay.
maintain that.
Going back to the question that I had, different states. I mean, if
Yeah.
you were to take from each state, so to speak, and put together a group of laws that you feel like, hey, this is the way we can get it right, how would that look like? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
curious where
So
you
the New
stand.
York qualifier is basically a joke, to be
Okay.
honest. It's 2 feet by 1 foot. That's the size of your target. So that's very forgiving, okay? And it's only 12 feet away. So we're not talking we're not talking very far. You don't have to come out of a holster. You come from like a low ready. It's 4 to 5 shots have to make it on target untimed. So to me, it's a little too lax. Like anybody can pass that, If it was my state, I would say I'd want you to come from your holster. I'd want it to come from concealment because we're not cops. It has to come from underneath something. And I would say at least I would say a second and a half to 2 seconds to get that garment cleared and take that shot into a target that's a 6-inch center mass.
Okay.
Okay, about 21 feet away, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
From that far away.
that far away, just to make sure that you are actually accurate. Nobody would probably carry in this state if I was the one
Mhm.
doing this because that's hard to do. It's
Okay.
not easy. But if something is to happen, you're fine. You will be able to shoot accurately. And people don't understand is when you put adrenaline behind all this, yeah, you could be the best instructor or student in the world and take all these classes. You put a little bit of stress behind that, your grouping is going to grow. And if you miss, it's your problem. So we have to get you to be as accurate as possible. So to have such a forgiving target is absurd to me.
Okay.
And then there's, the jersey one's a little bit better. It's all different distances. I'm not sure if it's from a holster or not. I'm just learning about it now. But it's much more of a stringent test
Okay.
than the New York one. And for New York being such a non-gun state, you would think it would kind of be more, but it's really not.
It's not. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little lax. So I don't know. I would kind of take a little bit more, for it just to get people to that higher pedigree. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
How long does it take for somebody who's taking your course to really get to the point where you can comfortably walk away and say, you know what, God forbid a situation were to arise,
Mm.
I feel confident this person can handle it.
So that's a very good question, and it's all person dependent. Some
Sure.
people latch on faster than others. Some people have the fear factor that's involved, and they kind of don't really learn for quite some time until I call again calling getting the bang out. They kind of have to just get through that. Even me myself, it took me probably about 2 years to be really, really confident, really putting a lot of time into it. That's why this 18-hour course, I mean, yeah, it's great. It really gives everybody a baseline, but you really need to put more into that. There really needs to be a lot more on live training and then something called dry fire. A lot of
Okay.
people don't know what dry fire is, but without ammunition in a safe direction, and you're just working on your fundamentals. And what it does is it takes the boom out.
Okay.
So it makes it a little bit easier to learn.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things I wanted to ask is what is something that person who goes through your training, what should they be doing on a regular basis to keep their skills sharp?
Very good question. Again, you have really good questions, I have to say. It's a great podcast.
Thank you.
Very good. So, so I like a little bit of everything. I like the live fire aspect. I like dry fire, as I just talked about, and I like doing holster pulling at home under the garment that you're going to wear. Everybody wears different shirts every day. I wear the same shirt. It's all different shirts. I have a bunch of different shirts, but they're the same shirts. So it's the same kind of stretchy every day. So I know where to grab that shirt, and it's pretty forgiving. But if I go out at night and have a dress shirt on or something tight, I have to figure that out. God forbid in the day, and I need to use my firearm, I'm going to stumble on my shirt. So you need to do garment managing as well. So a well-rounded person, they do dry fire, live fire, they do holster pulling, they do cleaning their gun.
Mm-hmm.
When you clean your gun, you get more intimate with your gun. You get to learn the parts. What does this, what
Sure.
does that. It brings out down the anxiety level
Mm-hmm,
because you're
mm-hmm.
really seeing the inner workings. And me coming as an engineer, I that made me feel more comfortable
Okay.
just understanding how everything worked. And that's how I kind of teach my students how does this work so that when they're in there, they're like, well, I couldn't have done that
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't work that way. Or some people think, oh, it just goes off randomly, unless it's a P320.
Mm-hmm.
Those go off randomly. Do not put those on your body.
Okay.
But other than that, no guns just go off. They don't go boom boom without putting your finger
Sure.
on it. So yeah, so that's being a well-rounded shooter. And I would say you do dry fire every 3 days for 15 minutes. Don't do more because if you do, you kind of put like sloppy behavior into yourself,
Sure.
and it transfers to live fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not only bad but good can transfer.
Okay.
All of it. Yeah.
Obviously, you've now developed this very strong community on Long Island, the empowering women and men. What have you seen from the people on Long Island in terms of this community that you think might set it aside from other firearms communities around the country?
That's really another good question. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we are unique. We really are because we didn't grow up with like grandpa hunting
Yeah,
with like
yeah.
a squirrel.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we're
you have
like,
some of that out east,
but hardly.
hardly.
And I train a lot of people. I don't hardly hear people saying, "Oh, I'm a hunter." Really hardly. So we are unique. We didn't grow up with it. It's a new thing here. It has a lot of stigma here. So I feel like this community is now kind of finally embracing it. You got the Jews embracing it. I'm also Jewish. Um,
Okay.
you got the women embracing it. You got the, people of color. You have the Asian community. You have so many people that are now coming in. I had people that approached me that were deaf. I had people that approached me that didn't speak English that wanted me to do like a bilingual class. There's so many
Hmm.
different aspects of people that now are opening up their eyes and they're seeing, you know what? Maybe it would be best if I got trained. And that's smart
Hmm.
because some people just go and they buy a lot of hardware, but they don't buy any software. And
Yeah.
that could be an issue, you
Yes.
know?
So we were just
Yeah.
talking about. I said, my father is, become quite a gun enthusiast.
Yeah.
Got his concealed carry permit for New York City, which is not easy to do. His attorney that he used to help obtain this actually told him, and again, going off a little political here, but I
Mm,
want your take on this,
sure.
that when Israel was attacked,
Mm,
okay, he had a massive surge
hmm.
in Jewish clients coming to him looking to get their permit.
Yes.
Did you notice the same thing as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And I always do. Every time there's a political wave, my
Okay.
phone blows up. Then it, chills out a little bit. And then it's wild. It's wild how many people are influenced by
Hmm.
and everybody, like my political wave riding in was 9/11.
Sure.
So it just depends on your wave
Yes.
and what really got you up off the couch to be like, you know what? Today's gonna be the day. Today I'm gonna call that instructor
Hmm.
and do that. My biggest motto that I love is one day or day one.
Yes.
So get up and get yourself trained. Don't just be like, well,
Hmm.
and be laxy about it because
Okay.
it's never going to happen.
Aside from Israel being attacked, 9/11, COVID,
Yeah.
were there any other incidents that occurred where you saw people really jump up and start to utilize your services?
Yes. When the Asian community was getting punched,
Okay.
when the women were getting slashed,
Okay.
when the cops were being like,
Hmm.
out of control, so yeah, anytime there was something crazy like that, it was just that was the group that would call me. It was wild. It
Okay.
was really wild. It's like, wow, all of a sudden I have a lot of Asian clients. All of a sudden I have
Yes.
a lot of Jewish clients.
Okay.
And one time I did a class of 20 Jews, like literally Orthodox with
Hmm.
yarmulkes on. I couldn't even touch them. I wasn't allowed to touch them,
Sure.
because I'm a woman. So I was like, trying to, this is how you move your hands,
Yeah.
this is how you do it. It was a little bit of a longer class because, I couldn't really touch them, but,
Yeah.
there you go. But it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do.
Okay. Is there a particular student success story that sticks with you, where you felt like, obviously when you do all this, you're making a difference, but sometimes it's just very transactional, right?
True.
But then other times, like, you can kind of see it really unfold. Is there any story that sticks out?
Yes, actually. I've had a couple of peace officers come to me on a Friday and failed their qualifier, and they had to retake it on a Monday, and they both passed.
Okay.
So I thought that was amazing that I was able to transform them in a weekend where their instructors weren't really helping them, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And it is what it is. You get to these, bureaus and they just put pistols in hands and
Yeah.
they're just like, good luck,
Yeah.
work it out. I don't know what you have to do. Thankfully, these women, took that next step and they found an instructor, got them to work the next day with them, which was really rare. I like dropped what I had to do, rescheduled just to help this lady, both of them, matter of
Hmm.
fact, just so I can get them to pass on a Monday. And I just thought it was really, glorifying when they called me and they were like, I passed. And I just thought that was amazing.
Obviously, that's a very, like, rewarding feeling, right?
Yes, for sure.
Aside from that, what do you find to be the most rewarding things about what it is you're doing? Is it the community that you're building? Is it the friendships that you're making? Like, when you started this, you probably had one thought in mind, right? And now
Yeah.
you can look at it in retrospect. But you said this has been going on for what,
Since
six?
2018.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Now you look back 7 years later. What is it? What is different about your impact that you didn't realize when you started in 2018?
Yeah, I really didn't think it was gonna grow into anything crazy like this. I really didn't think like you kind of nailed it. Like I met people I would never, ever, ever in my life think that I would even talk to be honest. Because, you see how I am. I'm kind of presenting the way I am. I wouldn't really walk up to like, a 75-year-old dude and be like, let's hang out. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, but they are some of the coolest people I've ever met. And what I love about this business is it takes down that wall
Sure.
where it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter your background, your political background, your religious background, your sexual background. It doesn't matter. We believe in the same thing, and it really has grown to be such a great community.
Sure.
Has grown to be something that has actually made my community safe. And
Okay.
from the beginning, that really was my intention. But we got so much more extra on top of that. So
Yeah.
I really feel humbled and honored that I get to be the one to do this. And when I teach, I hate to pat myself on the back, I shine. And people see it. They're like, wow, this is what you were meant to do.
Yeah.
I've done many industries in my life, but I've never shined the way I shine when I
Sure.
teach. People say, when you clock watch, I've never clocked watch since 2018 starting this business. This is what I love to do. I don't even shoot one round. I stand behind people and I love it. I root them on. I think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't have to shoot to like get the
Yes.
empowerment. I just love being there, and I love being the one who gets to do this.
Sure. I mean, and when you really think about it, I mean, regardless of your political stance, whatever you feel about firearms, right? I think at the end of the day, everybody, no matter where you come from, what you believe, everyone at their core believes in the right to be able to defend themselves.
Of course, of
You know?
course. Well, you'd be surprised. There are some people that are saying, you know what, I would rather die than actually
Really?
protect themselves.
Real,
I've had some people actually tell me that with a straight face, and I said that just blows my mind.
Sure.
That
I mean, but that's a very small minority.
it is, but they're out there. There's
Okay.
not everybody really does want to. I found that horrifying. Even like, God forbid something happened to your wife or something while you're not home. You wouldn't you want her to protect herself? Like that just blows my mind. Nah, she's fine. No, she ain't fine.
Yeah.
Wow. It's mind blowing.
Wow.
But yeah,
And that's not, you've had that experience on more than one occasion.
yes,
Wow.
I have.
Okay. What do you want your legacy to be in the firearms training world, right? Like when you decide to hang it up, if ever, or, when it's all over, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for making a difference, specifically in New York,
Okay.
because this is beyond enemy lines, and it's very difficult to have a firearms instruction business here, especially because, as you know, not everybody likes firearms, and this isn't really the right state. So I would like to leave behind that I made this community safe. I was about empowering everybody, including women, of course, and that at the end of the day, hopefully my legacy stays and grows. I would feel very upset if I passed away tomorrow, that my club closed down.
Sure.
I'd want my girls to take it over
Okay.
and grow it to
Okay.
whatever it can be.
To that point, what is the future for your organization and everything that you've built? And because I know this as a business owner, right? The only way for it to grow is to bring other people in and
Yep.
take that load and help carry the torch. What is it that you're doing to foster that?
That's another great question. I already do have a whole team that I have behind me that has been helping me since basically day one.
Okay. What does that team
Um,
look like?
You're gonna laugh. I have a 75-year-old Puerto Rican grandma
Okay.
who's probably the most badass lady I've ever met. She's awesome, and she's really helped me so much. Not only just professionally, but personally. And she's a rock, okay, and she's basically everything for me. I have other women that are like middle-aged moms who they just want to give back, and they see my vision and they just want to see it grow. So I have probably about a team of, say, about 5 or 6 that are like my
Okay.
core individuals. When I do events, they are the range safety officers that
Okay.
come with me. And I pay them and stuff, so it's great. So everybody wins. It's not
Yeah.
just me making money; everybody makes money, and it's just a great thing to pass along. And hopefully, like I said, they hold the torch.
Sure.
I would hope.
Sure. Anything new or exciting that's on the horizon for you that, you're about to roll out or implement that you'd maybe want to share with the viewers?
Good question. I am working on the New Jersey qual. Hopefully, it'll be hopefully the next month. Other than that, I am trying to maybe do a couple of things. I might be hosting a gun show soon. It might be something I may be working on, and maybe a holster bag company
Okay.
because there's kind of shitty ones on the market
Okay.
and they're ugly.
Okay.
So I was trying to see if we could maybe do something about that. So
Okay.
I'm working on something.
From an activism standpoint, what do you think the normal New York State resident, because you said, it's a difficult state to conduct business in. what is somebody as a resident that they could do to kind of help promote this awareness that I know you're trying to foster?
Well, it definitely helps to go get trained because
Hmm.
that really just keeps the industry flowing, not just in a money
Hmm.
aspect, but in a safety
Sure.
aspect. So go get trained. I would think to sign up to Gun Owners of America. They are really the forefront, even more than the NRA. I
Okay.
am an NRA instructor, but it's more of like almost like a money grab at this
Sure.
point. The Gun Owners of America is the ones that's really the ones up there suing and stuff like that. Just trying to stay as active as possible,
Hmm.
keep the industry growing,
Hmm.
buy firearms, go to a SHOT Show in Vegas. There's so many gun shows. We just had a gun show in, I don't even know what town it was in, with the Long Island Gun Source. They had a big gun show and they invited us to have a table. We did fantastic in that show. We must have had like 10 signups
Hmm.
for concealed carry that day, like on the spot. And then we had a bunch of women join our
Sure.
firearms club. So it was
Okay.
awesome.
Politically, wherever you fall, where do you feel both the right and left have it wrong?
So listen, I'm not here like Charlie Kirk, it was so sad that he passed, but for his aspect on like, if you get raped, you can't have an abortion.
Sure.
Like, listen, if I got raped
Yeah.
I would like to have an abortion. And for you to take that away from me, that's a little too far, on that side. And then you have the
Well, I'm
other
talking about
side.
for gun control specifically.
Right, but
Like, okay.
exactly. I'm just trying to say, like, it can vary in so much ways that it can get crazy like that, and then it could just be like, all right, well, we can only have a 10-round magazine. And it's
Okay.
like, all right, I get that, but whatever, it is what it is. There's just I don't know. There's just so many variables in that question, if
Okay.
I can say.
Well, the problem is because it's such a polarizing issue, and
It
and I
is.
don't see myself. I'm I wouldn't call myself a gun activist, but I'm very much a believer in the right to be able to bear arms and defend yourself.
Mhm.
But I see that the right side of the equation, unfortunately, goes too far with
Yeah.
they want everything and every type of firearm
Yep.
available to you, and I say,
Slippery
well,
slope. Yep.
it's a slippery slope,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But then you have the other side that, believes that no gun should be kept in the house at all,
Right.
right? And to me, it's a very common sense type issue, but yet for whatever reason, you just can't get anybody to meet in the middle.
No, it's absolutely true. It's like, and that's what happens if we start regulating. It's like, when does that stop? Or if we stop loosening, when does that stop?
Sure.
It is. It's a very slippery slope, and it's kind of scary because
Oh.
it's like, all these precedents with these lawsuits. It's
Mhm.
like everything just keeps changing, and it's like it's really hard to keep up.
Yes.
Even as an instructor, it's like sometimes I'm like, what the hell with these
Yeah, yeah,
laws?
yeah.
So you're right. I mean, it's sometimes bad on both sides,
Yes.
and for us to meet in the middle it's like we stand and we have our backs up against each other. And we're like, we're not listening. That's it. This is how it is. It shouldn't be like that.
Of course.
I have a neighbor who's like, very heavy political, and it's all he really talks about. And I don't really talk about that stuff too much because I just really care about guns, to be honest.
Sure.
But you know what? We meet in the middle. We have like commonality, and that's what this world needs to be. We need
Yes.
to kind of push that to the side and see the person and not their political standing, and try to like loosen this
Yeah.
or pay attention to
Yeah.
some things.
And go back to the fundamental, core values, right? The
Exactly.
ability, the right to defend yourself. And how do you
Exactly.
do that in a safe and responsible manner?
Exactly.
Okay. If people are interested, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
Sure. So I have a website, shetrainsyou.com.
Okay.
So regular spelling, YOU. And then my cell phone, 516-749-8650. You can text that number as well.
Okay.
And then I have an email, shetrainsyou at outlook.com.
Okay. And are you on social media at all?
I'm on every platform possible.
Okay. If you want for the viewers, just
Sure.
give
They're
your
all the same thing. She Trains You on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on I'm
Okay.
on YouTube.
All right. So you
I'm
have
on it
everything.
all.
It's pretty easy. She
Yeah,
trains
Twitter.
you.
I'm on all of it. Yep.
All right. So you guys have that. All right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming to the show. I really appreciate your insights.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. All right, guys. So as you heard, She Trains You, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, shetrainsyou.com. Reach out to Lisa if you're interested in getting trained. Okay, so that's all we have for today. As always, my name is Jeremiah Dalton. I'm the owner of Suffolk County House Buyers. If you have somebody that is looking to sell on their terms, their timeline, their way, that you know of a person or that person is you, give us a call at 631-333-SELL. Thanks so much for watching.